Okay, so get this. We're diving deep into European AI today. And I got to say, things are about to get really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
So we found this YouTube video by Johan. He's a French tech enthusiast.
Yeah.
And he is breaking down some NVIDIA news that could be a total game changer. I mean, it's like we're on the cusp of a tech revolution right here in Europe.
You know what's fascinating to me? Johan starts by laying out all the challenges Europe's facing in AI. You've got the US and China just dominating, economic pressures holding things back, and this brain drain to Silicon Valley, it never ends. It's a pretty stark picture at first.
Yeah, it does. It's like Europe's stuck in the slow lane while everyone else is just zooming ahead. But then Johan throws this curveball, NVIDIA's GB10. He calls it a supercomputer in a box. And from what he's saying, it really sounds like this could be Europe's chance to finally catch up.
This is where it gets interesting. Imagine having the AI processing power that used to require these massive data centers. But now it's all in a device the size of a small PC. That's the GB10. And the best part, it's going to be available for around $3,000.
Okay, now that is seriously impressive.
Yeah.
But what does that actually mean for someone who's not, a tech wizard? Johan uses this analogy that really clicked for me. He says it's like going from a moped to a Ferrari for the price of a scooter. Suddenly, this powerful AI technology is within reach for researchers, startups, even individuals.
Exactly. That's Johan's whole point. This could democratize AI in Europe. We're talking European researchers finally having the power to run their own large language models, startups developing AI solutions tailored to local needs, maybe even you tinkering with AI projects at home.
Hold on, though. What exactly are these large language models Johan keeps mentioning?
Think of them as the brains behind AI applications. They can understand and generate human language. Think like chatbots that can hold complex conversations, or AI assistants that can rate different kinds of creative content, or even tools that translate languages with incredible accuracy. The GB10 is powerful enough to run those kinds of models, which is a huge deal.
So we're not just talking about faster computers, we're talking about a whole new level of AI accessibility right here in Europe. And it's all thanks to this little box from NVIDIA.
It seems that way. Johan actually gets into some of the key specs that make the GB10 so powerful. He mentions it has a petaflop of computing power. To put that in perspective, that's a quadrillion calculations per second. Way more than even the most powerful gaming PCs available right now.
Wow. A petaflop in a box that costs $3,000. That's mind-blowing. It sounds almost too good to be true. And Johan, even with all his excitement, seems to have some reservations.
He does. You can tell Johan is thrilled about the GB10's potential. But he also raises some important questions. For example, he's wondering if his own AI software will even be compatible with this new hardware. It's a program called Pinocchio, and it highlights the fact that the GB10 might require developers to adapt their software, or even create new tools to fully utilize its capabilities.
That's a good point. I mean, this is such a game changer. Wouldn't you need a whole new ecosystem to support it? New software, new ways of working with AI? It sounds like a lot of unknowns.
It does, and Johan's concerns go even deeper. He's excited about what this could mean for Europe. But he also points out that NVIDIA, the company behind the GB10, is an American company.
So is he worried that Europe will become dependent on American technology, even if it helps them catch up in the AI race?
That seems to be one of his concerns. He's wrestling with the implications of this reliance on NVIDIA and what it could mean for Europe's long-term goals of building an independent AI sector. But that's a conversation for later. For now, let's take a closer look at what makes this GB10 so special.
You got it. Let's dive into those tech specs and see what makes this supercomputer in a box tick. Join us in part 2, where we unpack the power and potential of the NVIDIA GB10. All right, so we're back and ready to get a little geeky here. In part 1, we talked about how the GB10 could really shake things up for European AI. But what's actually under the hood? Johan goes pretty deep into the tech stuff in his video. And I gotta admit, some of it went over my head.
Yeah, he does use some pretty technical terms, but you know it's important for you to get every single component in this GB10. It's all designed to optimize speed and efficiency specifically for AI.
Yeah, he actually shows this diagram in the video. It's like an exploded view of the GB10 with all of its parts laid out. And it looks seriously impressive, super sleek and futuristic.
Oh, yeah. And at the heart of it all, you've got this NVIDIA Blackwell super chip. That's the one delivering that petaflop of computing power we talked about. Johan compares it to the RTX 4090. Which is already a crazy powerful graphics card for gaming and all that. And he says the GB10's chip is over 100 times more powerful. It's like comparing a bicycle to a rocket ship.
Okay, so all that power. It's specifically made for running these large language models, right?
Exactly. That's what makes this GB10 so exciting. I mean, just imagine you could be running these complex AI models that power things like ChatGPT right from your home office, thanks to this little GB10.
So we've got this super powerful chip. What else is in there? He mentioned something about a 21-core ARM processor. What even IR-SAT?
Right, so that's the CPU, the central processing unit. It's basically the brain of the GB10. It coordinates everything else and manages how the whole system runs. And because it's a 21-core ARM processor, it means it's designed to be incredibly efficient, which is really important when you're dealing with this much power.
That makes sense. What about the memory, though? I know how annoying it is when your computer slows down because it doesn't have enough RAM.
Oh, the GB10's got you covered. It comes with 128 gigabytes of DDR5X RAM, which is the fastest type of RAM you can get right now. And get this, it's soldered directly onto the motherboard for maximum speed and efficiency.
So no more waiting around for things to load.
Yeah.
That's music to my ears. What about storage, though? Is it one of those old clunky hard drives?
Nope, no clunky hard drives here. The GB10 uses super fast solid-state drives, or SSDs, for storage. It comes with 4 terabytes of SSD storage, which is a ton of space for your AI projects and data. And just like the RAM, it's integrated directly onto the motherboard, so again, faster data access and smoother performance.
It's like every little detail of this machine is designed for speed. He even mentions something called NVLink C2C, which I'm guessing is some kind of high-speed connection inside the GB10 itself.
You got it. NVLink C2C is this high-speed interconnect. It lets different components within the GB10, like the CPU, the GPU, the memory, talk to each other super quickly. It's like having a data superhighway inside the machine, so everything runs smoothly and efficiently.
So we've got the super chip,
Yeah.
the efficient brain, lightning-fast memory and storage, even a high-speed data highway, all in this tiny little box. It seriously sounds too good to be true.
I know, right? But there's more. Johan also talks about the operating system, the NVIDIA DGX OS 6. It's based on Linux, which is really popular with developers. And it's specifically optimized for AI applications. It comes with all these tools and software preloaded, so you can get started with your AI products right away.
Okay, so it sounds like the GB10 has literally everything you need to start developing and running AI. But remember, Johan wasn't sure if his own software would even be compatible. It makes me wonder about all the other AI software out there. Will everything just work perfectly with the GB10?
That's a great question, and it's one that Johan brings up himself. He specifically mentions this program he uses called Pinocchio, and he's not even sure if that'll run on the GB10. It kind of highlights this potential challenge with software compatibility.
Right, so even if you have this incredible supercomputer, you might need to change your existing software, or even build entirely new tools, just to use all of its capabilities.
That's definitely a possibility. And this is where things get even more interesting, because this challenge could also be a huge opportunity, especially for European developers. What if they could create a whole new world of AI software designed specifically for the GB10 to take advantage of all its unique features?
That's a really good point. It's like a whole new frontier for European innovation. They wouldn't just be catching up, they'd be shaping the future of AI development.
But Johan also had those concerns about NVIDIA's role in all of this, right? He seemed a bit unsure about relying on an American company for this technology.
He did. And that leads us to some even bigger questions about the future of European AI. Is this their chance to finally step into the spotlight? Or will they end up dependent on NVIDIA's technology? We'll explore those questions in part 3.
All right, so welcome back to our deep dive into European AI. So far, we've explored how NVIDIA's GB10 could really revolutionize AI development. It's powerful, it's affordable, and it has Johan pretty excited. But he also had those concerns about Europe relying on an American company for this tech. Yeah, it is a valid concern. You have this incredible opportunity for Europe to jump ahead in the AI game, but then there's that risk of becoming dependent on NVIDIA. It really is a double-edged sword.
Totally. On one hand, you've got European researchers and startups finally having access to this kind of computing power. I mean, it was totally out of reach before. But what happens if NVIDIA just changes its strategy or pulls out of Europe completely?
It is a bit unsettling, but I think what's important to remember, Johan doesn't see this as a simple win or lose. He's not saying Europe should just reject the GB10 out of fear. He's framing it more as a challenge, like how can they use this technology to create something even bigger?
So what's his vision then? What does he think Europe should do?
He talks about building a uniquely European AI ecosystem, one that's built on their own terms, reflecting their own values and priorities.
Right. He mentions Europe's focus on data privacy and ethical AI development a lot. Is he saying the GB10 could actually help them with that?
I think so. He seems to believe Europe can use this technology to create a different kind of AI, one that's more aligned with their values. Like, imagine AI systems designed with privacy built in from the beginning, or algorithms that are developed with fairness and transparency in mind.
That's a pretty powerful idea.
Okay.
But is it realistic? I mean, Europe has had trouble keeping up with the US and China in tech before.
Oh, he acknowledges that. He even brings up social media and cloud computing, areas where Europe has definitely lagged behind. But he says the GB10 is a different story. It levels the playing field when it comes to computing power, so European innovators finally have a chance to catch up, and maybe even surpass the current leaders.
But technology is only one piece of the puzzle, right? You need the talent, the investment, the right environment for innovation. Does Johan talk about those things?
Yeah, he does. He really emphasizes education. He says Europe needs to give future generations the skills to succeed in an AI-driven world. He also talks about investment from both the public and private sectors to support AI research and development.
So it's about creating a whole ecosystem.
Exactly. And that's where Johan's vision gets really interesting. He's calling for a cultural shift, like a change in mindset, where Europeans embrace AI, not just for economic growth, but as a force for good in society.
He even uses the phrase European AI moonshot. It's like he's challenging them to think bigger, be bolder, aim for something huge.
Yeah. And this could be the push they need. Think about it. You've got this powerful, affordable AI tech available now. There's a growing awareness of ethical AI development, and you have a generation of young Europeans ready to make a difference. It's a powerful combination.
It is. But let's bring this back to you, the listener. We've been talking about Europe, but this AI revolution is going to affect everyone everywhere.
Absolutely. The GB10 might be a European story for now, but these advancements in AI will impact all of us. It's so important to stay informed, to be part of these conversations, and to think critically about how AI is going to shape our future.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we'll leave you with a few questions to think about. What are your thoughts on the potential of AI, not just in Europe, but globally? What role do you want to play in shaping this future?
Because the future of AI isn't set in stone. It's being shaped right now. And your voice, your choices, your actions, they all matter. We encourage you to stay curious, keep learning, and be a part of this incredible journey into the age of AI.